Welcome back to part 2. We finished the bottom in the previous video, and now we're going to dress up the top. So I'm just going to take a flapper wheel and go around where the edge of my masking tape line is and true everything up. When I cut it, there are places where I left a little extra metal here and there, and that's okay. That's actually what you want to do. Always leave a little extra metal. Trim it back a little bit at a time. It's a lot easier to take off a little bit here or there than it is to add back more metal. So I go around and trim that up as best I can. Get it all nice and pretty. And then I'm pretty much done because we've already straightened all the edges with the hammer and the dolly. And so now it's a matter of taking measurements on this area and transferring those measurements to the new frame head. After I got those measurements, I transferred them to the frame head with some masking tape, and as you see here, the edge of the tape is the finish, but I'm going to offset it, leaving a little bit of extra, about 1/4 of an inch or so. Now as I go through this, you'll notice about halfway that I switched grinders. If you look closely, you'll see why. The pinion nut came loose inside the gearbox on this porta-cable, and it would spin the motor, but it would not spin the blade. So after figuring out what was going on, I tossed it aside and grabbed another grinder. Thankfully I have plenty. Now these cordless grinders are great for a lot of things, but they do lack the RPM to be really good with a cutoff wheel. Still, it got the job done. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever had a grinder unscrew on you. I've had them burn up before, but that's the first time I've had them literally unscrew themselves internally. Anyway, with that done, grind off all the E-coat black paint looking stuff of wherever you're going to weld, and then we're ready to start fitting it. Now that we have this replacement head trimmed a little bit too big, we know we'll still have to take some off. We just want to kind of check where we are. So you kind of see how much I left on there. And we'll put it up here. Let's see. Get that fuel line in there. Butt it up. It's about how much we're short coming in here. Notice also this aftermarket head's just not quite right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that closer to the line. So we're going to pause the work for just a moment. I want to cover a couple of things. If you're still watching at this point, you either have a couple of questions or you're about to soon. So we'll make this quick. Measurements and alignment. It's not super cut and dry. There are measurements from this surface to here, which is part of why I cut it here instead of cutting it back here. I wanted to leave this Napoleon hat, as they call it, so that I would have a good surface to measure off of. I can measure at the top to the top, I can measure down here at the bottom to the bottom, and that'll let me get my part dialed in. Now, if you're replacing this on your Volkswagen, take some measurements. Take lots of measurements before you cut the old part out. Now, some people will actually pie cut this. They'll make the gap here a lot bigger than the gap at the bottom, which will kind of pull this head back a little bit, increasing the caster. Usually that's guys that lower the cars more in the front than the rear, at which point the handling becomes really crummy. So they will pie cut this to rake this front rack back a little bit, add the caster so that the car is more stable at high speeds. And some people will intentionally just put it in about 1/2 degree or so, even on a stock car, just to make it more stable at high speeds. But that's getting into advanced suspension issues that is outside the scope of this video. Maybe in a future video we'll delve into suspension setup, but for now just know that I'm putting this car back the way it came. Now I had already went to the metal rack and grabbed a piece of 2-inch wide flat strap and was about to start bending it when I looked over and said, I already have a piece of metal that's bent perfectly for this job. So let's just cut 2 inches off the old head, and that'll make a perfect sleeve insert. And so that's what we did. And in case you're wondering here, yes, that is the broken grinder. I disassembled it, found the problem, put it back together. Waste not, want not. So you've seen me cut with a cut-off wheel before. We'll fast forward through this. Now after I get this cut out, I'm going to go around the edges with a flapper wheel on a grinder and just kind of deburr it, get rid of the sharp spots so I don't cut myself. And then I'll go around the face and clean up all the paint and rust and whatnot so that the welds will penetrate better, because we are using this for plug welds as well as a filler on our butt welds. And then just go to the frame head and this tunnel as well and put some holes in. I usually put 4 or 5 on each side of something like this, and then get something to clean up the back side so that your butt plate will fit nice and snug. And with that done, we're ready to weld. So I bring the piece in here. You can see I've already put some weld through primer in there. Clamp it nice and tight. You don't want a gap really between these parts. I find it handy, these type of clamps, put them real close to where you're welding. It holds them nice and tight. They don't really get in the way. I have other types of clamps, but these seem to work good for this type of job. And then it's just a matter of plug welding. So now we're almost ready to start welding, but we want to take some more measurements and make sure we have everything in place. So whatever measurements you've come up with for your car, make sure you have them handy. If you're going to pie cut it here, then make sure you've done your research on how much you want to take out. I can't tell you what's right for you and your car. So I just took a bungee strap and put a level up here so that I would have a straight surface to measure on, and measured between it and this little bulkhead or upright or Napoleon hat, whatever you want to call it. So I check it on both sides. I want to make sure that that's the same, as well as measure diagonally to make sure that it's centered. So we want to measure side to side, diagonal, and front to back. Measure every direction you can think of, because once you get this welded in, what you have is what you've got. Now once you're happy with your measurements, then it's time to start welding. We're going to start off with doing one plug weld, or you could just do a tack weld on the edge, whatever. And then you're going to measure again before you do your second weld. So we've got this side tacked into place. I'm going to go around to the other side, grab the tape measure out. And after I measure this, I'm going to find out that it's not quite right. It's about a 1/16 of an inch out, or in metric, I believe that's called a little bit. So out with the whacker. Twist that side back a little bit. And at this point, when I double check it, my measurements are just dead on, so I know that I'm good to start welding. It's time to burn some wire. So from this point, it's just a matter of welding. Now, all of those holes that we made when we drilled out the spot welds, we're using those for plug welds. And if you don't know what that means, that's okay. I'm going to have a future video on sheet metal welding, and we'll deal with plug welds, butt welds, lap welds, all the different types of welds that you use in sheet metal fabrication. But for now, just fill up the holes. So then I flip it over to the bottom and start with this continuous weld. Notice I didn't just start on one end and go to the other. You want to skip around a little bit, give your metal a chance to cool a little bit. You don't want to overheat it. You can warp and you can blow through. And there, I'm not real happy with that gap, so I grab a hammer and just kind of whack on it a little bit, bring the metal back closer together. A little bit of a weave there. Again, not really trying to make a welding tutorial out of this video. And again, bumping the metal a little closer in. Well, folks, we've reached the point where the computer decided to eat my footage, but long story short, just keep welding. Skip around, left to right, top to bottom. You don't want to put all of your heat in one place. Don't be in a hurry. And once you get all the welds done, the next step's going to be to dress the welds and throw some seam sealer on it. We're not ready for that yet because we still have the rest of this pan to deal with. We've got to get this old tar paper off. We've got to sandblast it, fix a few holes back there. All of that will be in a future video. The next video on this Volkswagen project will be probably about 3 weeks from now, maybe 4. In the meantime, I do have several other videos of a new series I've been working on. We're going to deal with body shop and restoration tools and techniques and things that you need if you're wanting to get into this hobby or get into auto body work as a career or whatever. And things that you'll need right away. We'll do another one of things that you'll need eventually. We're going to deal with rotisseries. Do you need one? Do you not? There's a lot of things that I'm pretty excited about, so hopefully some of those interest you. Please like, thumbs ups are great. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And leave me some comments. Let me know what kind of things you would like to see in a future video. We've got a big yard full of projects, and I would love to share them with you guys. So thanks for watching. God bless. Have a good one.